On October 30th, 1961, the Soviet Union did something that literally shook the entire planet. They detonated a weapon so powerful, so immense, it earned the name Tsar Bomba, the king of bombs. We're about to deconstruct the single largest man-made explosion in all of human history, a terrifying display of power that brought us right to the edge. Just let that number sink in for a second. 50 megatons. That's the explosive force of 50 million tons of TNT. Honestly, a number that big is almost impossible to wrap your head around. So let's try to put it in perspective.
Okay, look at this. We all know about the devastating bomb dropped on Nagasaki, Fat Man. The Tsar Bomba wasn't just a little more powerful. No. It was over 2,300 times more powerful. It was bigger, way heavier. It was in a totally different universe of destruction. So the big question is, how on earth did they build something like this?
Now, here's where it gets really interesting. No official blueprint, no declassified schematic of the Tsar Bomba has ever seen the light of day. But we know it was a thermonuclear weapon, a hydrogen bomb. And because of that, we can piece together a very clear picture of how this monster worked. So let's pop the hood and see what's inside. At its core, a typical H-bomb is a two-part system. You have a primary stage and a secondary stage. You can think of it as one bomb that's just there to light the fuse of a much, much bigger bomb. And it's all wrapped up in a special casing designed to trap and focus all that incredible energy. Let's start with the trigger. So the primary stage is basically a highly advanced version of a fission bomb, like the kind used in World War II. You've got regular chemical explosives surrounding a core or pit of plutonium. But here's the key. Its main job isn't just to make a bang. Its job is to create an absolutely blinding flash of X-rays and a storm of neutrons to get the main event started. And this is the main event. The secondary stage is the powerhouse. This is where the real mind-bending power of the Tsar Bomba was locked away. Inside, you've got the fusion fuel, and right in the middle, another plutonium core called the spark plug. This right here is the thermonuclear heart of the beast. Okay, so before we actually set this thing off, we've got to quickly talk about the two nuclear forces that make it all possible. They're like the twin engines of this weapon, fission and fusion. It's actually pretty straightforward. Fission is all about splitting big, heavy atoms apart. Think of it like breaking something. It releases a lot of energy. Fusion is the exact opposite. It's about taking tiny, light atoms and slamming them together under heat and pressure we can barely imagine. And that releases way more energy. In an H-bomb, you use a fission explosion to create the insane conditions you need to ignite a fusion explosion. All right, we've seen the guts of the machine and we understand the basic physics. Now, let's walk through the chain of events. And remember, this entire world-altering sequence happens in a fraction of a second. It all starts at 4,000 meters up. Step 1. The bomb is released, but a giant parachute opens to slow it down, giving the bomber crew precious seconds to get away. Step 2. Boom. Conventional explosives fire, instantly crushing the plutonium pit in the primary stage, which starts a fission chain reaction. Step 3. A flood of X-rays from that blast fills the casing. The radiation is so intense it turns the foam inside into superheated plasma, creating a pressure wave of unimaginable force. Step 4. That pressure wave slams into the secondary stage from all sides, crushing it and igniting its plutonium spark plug. That, in turn, triggers the colossal fusion reaction. And then, for the grand finale, Step 5, the whole bomb is vaporizing, but the neutrons flying everywhere cause the bomb's own uranium casing to undergo fission, adding one last enormous burst of energy to the whole thing. It all happens in less time than it takes to snap your fingers. The chain reaction inside the bomb is over. Now, we turn to the consequences for the outside world. The fireball, it was 8 kilometers, that's 5 miles wide. It was so incredibly bright that people saw the flash from almost 1,000 kilometers away. It was like a second sun had been born on Earth. And this bar chart, this just says it all. The shockwave from Fat Man in Nagasaki had a destructive radius of about 2 kilometers. The shockwave from the Tsar Bomba was so powerful it broke windows in Finland, nearly 900 kilometers away. That pressure wave literally traveled around the entire planet 3 times. But even after all of this, there's one final piece to this terrifying puzzle. Because despite everything we've just gone through, the true exact design of the Tsar Bomba is still one of the most tightly guarded secrets of the Cold War. Experts have been debating it for decades. Was it a complex three-stage weapon, a primary igniting a secondary, which then ignited an even bigger tertiary stage? Or did they use a different trick, maybe multiple primaries, to set off one gigantic secondary? The truth is, we just don't know for sure. But we do know one final, absolutely chilling detail. Get this. The weapon that they tested wasn't the full power version. The original design was for a 100 megaton bomb. But the scientists themselves, terrified of the catastrophic radioactive fallout it would create, deliberately nerfed their own creation. They swapped out a key uranium part for lead, which doesn't undergo fission, and that single change cut the bomb's power in half. The 50 megaton monster blast was actually a scaled-down test. So we're left with this lingering question: an unimaginable weapon, a design that's still a state secret, and a destructive potential so great that even its creators had to hold it back. What was the real design of the Tsar Bomba, the most powerful and, perhaps, the most feared weapon ever conceived by humanity?